Welcome to Parev TV. Our guest today is a good friend, Dr. Razmik Panossian, who is the director of the Department of Armenian Communities at the Gulbenkian Foundation in Lisbon, Portugal. Razmik, thank you very much for joining us. It is really a great honor. Let me get to the question straight. And you have a very special view, a 360-degree view of the Armenian diaspora in Armenia. You're in a very unique position, and there are so many things happening within the Gulbenkian Foundation. We cannot discuss everything, obviously. A month ago, we connected when you were in California, and the question was the revitalization of Western Armenian language. There's a lot of work that your office is conducting. What are your thoughts, and what are the efforts that is being promoted by the Gulbenkian Foundation Armenian section?
Hello, Vartan. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here. Good to see you again. Well, the Gulbenkian Foundation, the Armenian department, I'll be talking only about the Armenian department of the Gulbenkian Foundation. One of our core priorities, in fact, the core priority, is the revitalization of Western Armenian, Armenian language and culture. Now, we use revitalization. We don't say preservation because it is something dynamic language. It is something to be revitalized, to be promoted, advanced, and not just preserved like a jar of pickles. And so that's the language in itself is important. Yes, we do quite a bit of work and in this domain, and that work entails teacher development. It entails tools and materials, pedagogic tools and materials. It entails video programs, summer camps, etc., and of course publications. And so we were in California for several reasons. One was if we are going to work on language, which we do, obviously, Los Angeles is an important hub. And of course, in Los Angeles, it's not only Western Armenian, it's Eastern Armenian, Baska-Hayeren, etc. But also there is a critical mass of Western Armenian speakers, and it would make sense for us to be more present in Los Angeles. The second reason is that one of our values as a department is to be engaging with the community, to be transparent, to explain to Armenians around the world what we are up to. And so the second reason we went there was to actually talk about some of our programs, to explain what we have been doing. It's a question of transparency. And it was the third one we did because we started in Lebanon, we did one in Armenia, and then Los Angeles. Eventually in 2024, we'll do a couple of other countries. And the third thing is a broader strategic issue, Vartan, and that is, the center of the Armenian diaspora is shifting westwards, whether we like it or not. And Los Angeles has emerged as a center of the Western Armenian, of the Armenian diaspora, not just Western Armenian, has emerged as a center of the Armenian diaspora. And I think for foundations like us, it makes sense to be present there or more present there without, of course, neglecting the important work that we do in Middle Eastern countries, in Europe as well. So it's a question of strategic balance. So those were the reasons that took us to California.
A few years ago, I don't remember exactly when, UNESCO listed Western Armenian as endangered language. How did you react to it? Is it really is it endangered, or is it being revitalized with independence of Armenia? Is there more Armenian spoken?
Well, if we're talking only about Western Armenian. So Armenia's independence doesn't have much to do with it because Armenia doesn't really do all that much in Western Armenian, Armenia as a government or as a country. Having said that, there is a vibrant group of Western Armenian speakers from Lebanon, Aleppo, in Armenia, and we work with them because they do a lot of good work as well in the language. Now, the UNESCO decision or categorization, I think, was a turning point. It was some 15, 20 years ago. I don't remember the exact date myself. It was a turning point because it made us realize that if we don't do something, this language is going to disappear. And when I say we, that means we, the descendants of the survivors of the genocide. It is our language. It's a diasporan language, and we should not be relying on others in Armenia or elsewhere to quote unquote salvage or to work on the language. It has to be us who do it because it is our culture and it is our language. Again, the descendants of Ottoman Armenia, of historic Armenia. And so it is very important to do various programs to reform the schools, to not say, oh, it's lost. There is that negativism as well, that, well, why are you working on this? It's lost. Well, no, it's not lost. We see young people, we see a certain vibrancy of young people who want to come and to the language, who want to learn it, are learning it. And this is the core that's going to keep the language and advance it for the next, 1 or 2 or 3 generations.
You speak very, very correctly. You are speaking on behalf of all the diaspora Armenians. We love the language, but obviously the reality on the ground is like in New York area, we have 100,000 Armenians. We have 1 or 2 Armenian schools with a total population of maybe 300 students, which doesn't justify or doesn't really reflect the way we believe in the Armenian language. My other question is
let me answer that,
Sure.
Vartan, because that's a very important point. So I don't want to lose it. You're absolutely right. The percentages are very small, abysmal, I would say, those who go to Armenian school. We're a lot better on talking about Armenian than actually learning Armenian or putting resources into it. So the first thing to say is we have to be serious about this. We cannot say Armenian, lezu, hayeven, and not do anything about it. If we're serious about it, we, the communities, the community leadership have to put resources into this, which means not just opening more schools, but having good schools so that parents would send their kids to the good school, not just because they're an Armenian school. And we have examples of that, even in the New York, New Jersey area. So that is absolutely crucial. The second thing is that we have to remember that to advance the language, to revitalize the language, you don't need millions of people. You need a core group of dedicated intellectuals who are working on this. And then from that core, it percolates out, or from that core, it expands outwards. And that's what we're working on. So instead of saying this is a bad situation, I come from a different perspective where I would say, yes, this is a bad situation, but the key question is, what can I do about it? And I think that's what we have to remember. And that's what we should all be asking ourselves, every diasporan organization, and do something about it. And be open to reform, because if we say the same thing over and over again, nothing's going to happen. We have to be able to reform our pedagogic system in the diaspora to teach Armenian as a second language.
You speak about putting our resources and having good schools. Let me compliment one of the projects you have, Zarmanazank, which is, success breeds success. And what I hear about Zarmanazank and the kids who go there and come back is just, it's really a pleasure to know that something like that is taking place. But with coming back to the schools, many a times we see the younger classes, the first, second, third graders, highly enrolled, and as they go up the scale, we lose the students to the public schools or the private schools, which offer maybe better education. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think the answer is in your question. If I was a parent, no matter how much you tell me that Armenian is important, I want to send my child to a good school, right? So if it's not an either or, Armenian schools have to be good schools. If they're good schools, parents will naturally send their children to the good school because they're not lagging behind in anything else. It should never be, well, Armenian schools, fine, it's Armenians, I'll send it there. No, it has to be a good school. So that's our biggest challenge. Zarman and schools are, of course, one important element of the equation. The other elements of the equation is after school or extracurricular activities, and Zarmanazan is one of them. Zarmanazan is not a school; it's a program. It's a summer program. It is sort of in metaphoric village that everything happens in Armenian, without people saying learn Armenian, amot yete chichosi sayeven. It's all in Armenian, and it's a fun environment. Kids love it. They cry when they leave. Imagine children crying because they're leaving a language camp, because it's fun. It really encourages them to develop themselves, to become who they are in the Armenian language, to deal with the world, with the global issues in the Armenian language, to do yoga in Armenian, for instance, or play sports in Armenian. And that's the key to success, is to create these environments, be it on a Saturday school or Sunday school or everyday school, be it outside of a school, just a program where kids get together, and through that, in that environment, they speak Armenian, they do things in Armenian. And I think that's the key to it. But with Zarmanazan, we've been doing it for 7 years in France, and it is producing results. Parents are amazed that their children are coming back and they're speaking Armenian, and telling their parents, why are you not speaking Armenian? And so now partners in Los Angeles would like to do it as well, the Board of Regents of the Western Prelacy. And so we're partnering with them for Zarmanazan to also take place in Los Angeles this summer. So there will be one in France and one in Los Angeles. Yes, it's a small group of people, 30 to 50, 60 people. But this is how you build a movement, right? This is how you build, we tend to forget that our entire Renaissance, the Zartung of the 19th century, was done by several thousand intellectuals. It wasn't, and we're looking at several hundred, and I think several hundred is sufficient for the Armenian diaspora to maintain this language for, as I said, several generations.
Not only do the kids leave Zarmandan crying, but they come to America or wherever they live, and they tell other kids how exciting it was. And that's the word of mouth publicity you're getting to accelerate the excitement and the attendance.
Yeah. And they keep in touch during the year. So it's not just 4 weeks that they are at the camp. We hear from parents and from them is that afterwards they keep in touch. They get together for social events. They even visit each other in different countries. It becomes a network of kids, teenagers, and young adults who will stay with them for the rest of their lives. And that network is in Armenia. It's in Western Armenia.
You spoke about California as an area where you will set up shop. My question is, areas in the diaspora, like in Lebanon, Anjar, in Middle East, in Jerusalem, in Cyprus, LA you mentioned, are these other places, are you in touch with these other places? Any way these very, very strong Armenian bases can be cultivated?
All right, let me do a very small correction to say we're not setting shop in Los Angeles. We're going to augment our programs, and we are going to be more present, because I don't want to convey the idea that we're opening an office in Los Angeles. Yes, we are in touch with multiple schools, multiple environments, multiple intellectuals, teachers around the world. We work, for example, closely with schools in Lebanon. We work with schools in France and Greece. So yes, we are in touch. We tend to know what's going on out there in terms of innovation, in terms of new ideas. That's at the educational level, and of course at the cultural level, we have a program that is a prize. People apply to us to produce new Armenian cultures in Western Armenian. It's called In View or Artieves Zerakive. So we are in touch with these people, obviously. But also, I would like to say, Vartan, that sometimes there is resistance. There has always been resistance to new ideas. So conservatives who said we've been doing this since 1950 this way and we don't want to change, it's difficult to break through. And we try to argue and we try to present new cases, but I think new arguments. But I think we have come to a point that just about everyone realizes our diaspora and educational system is in crisis and something needs to change. And that is very important recognition. So obviously we work with everyone. We have this, for example, teacher development program that's online every 2 weeks. We have several tens of maybe even 30, 40 teachers connecting on this platform with scores of other teachers from around the world, and these are from Aleppo. They are really keen to be part of this global community of teacher development. And we have people from Argentina participating. We have people from Australia. You can imagine the difficulties of time zones and things like that in trying to do this kind of stuff. But yes, we are. You said at the beginning, I am very privileged that it is a unique position that I connect to just about every aspect of the Armenian diaspora. Now, of course, there are certain communities who don't have connections to, but that's a different issue.
We are living in the age of technology, age of information. All around us there are computers and networking.
Yeah.
How effective have these tools been in the promotion of your project? And are you in any way cooperating with other organizations who are working on the same or similar projects?
Well, at the most basic level, here you are in the New York area, I am in Lisbon, and we're communicating seamlessly through Zoom. So of course we use all these kinds of technologies, but we also have programs that bring technology and language together. The spell checkers program, the creation of language, corpus, the more behind the scene technological work that needs to be done, the tree banks and things like that need to be done for the language to function in the technological sphere. And of course, we have lots of digitization programs, digitizing books, journals, supporting websites in the Armenian language and whatnot. So it's not only we use technology, we actually work through technology to strengthen the Armenian language. In the case of the spell checkers, it's both Eastern and Western Armenian, but most of our work is for Western Armenian. So yes, that is a very, very important part of our programming.
You mentioned the spell check. Do we have spell check? Do we have spell check?
Of course we do.
Who worked on it? Who gave it to us?
So it is Nairi.com. You can download it on your smartphone, or you can on your computer. And as you type Armenian, it corrects it. It underlines the mistake and corrects it. Do you think I would write in Armenian if it wasn't for spell checkers?
Because I would say 99% of all Armenians have this problem with spelling, and they're afraid to write.
Let me tell you just an anecdotal thing. I was talking to a Portuguese colleague, and he was saying, well, why are you focusing on this? I said, can you imagine you, who is native Portuguese speaker, born and raised and educated in Portugal, can you imagine you writing Portuguese without the spell checkers? He said, no. I said, exactly. So it's exactly. How can you imagine writing Armenian, Eastern or Western? Western with its complicated rules, re, rak, kin, ke, without the spell checker, and the spell checker just corrects it. I have certainly used. I mean, not. I use it on a daily basis. I mean, when I write a letter in Armenian, I run it to the spell checker to make sure there are no embarrassing mistakes. So, yeah, and it's available. And because of our support, it's free of charge. It took years to develop this. I mean, it's there, and now our challenge is to update it. The problem is you cannot do it once. You constantly have to update it. No program, you have to update it. No new versions, you have to update it. So it's an ongoing process.
Dr. Razmik Panossian, զարմանալի է, որ արևմտահայերենի մասին խոսենք եւ անգլերենով խոսենք արդայդրիկ։ Մեկը ասած է հայ ծնիլը բադիվ է, հայ ապրիլը բայկար է։ Մենք բայկարի մեջ ենք։ Իսկ հայ մերդինլար հերոսություն է գսեն։ Բայց իսկապես այս բայկարը բոլորիս սրդին գխոսի եւ ես մասնավորդեղ ինձի համար մասնավորդեղ գրավեն մեր մեծ հայրերը, մեծ մայրերը, որոնք Թորներու մոտ գաբրին եւ թորներու դեն ժամանակ արիթ ու դի թորներու դեն հայերեն խոսին։ Ես կարծեմ լավակուն ու սիչտեր ադոնք են։ Հայրը մեծ մայր եւ այդ դուներու մեջ ուր գտնվին մեծ մայր, մեծ հայր զարմանալի է ինչպես թորնիկներ հայերեն խոսին։ Բայց հայերենով գլխավոր գեդը ես կարծեմ մտային հեղափոխություն պետք է լաբերժողի մեջ արժեք տալու մեր հարստության, որոնց մեկ հատ լեզուն է, առանց լեզի ոչ հայ կմնա, ոչ հայկական ոգի կմնա, ոչ հայ միտք կմնա։
Վատյան, ես շատ անգամ կբացատրեմ, թե ինչու մենք շեշտը գտնենք արևմտահայերենի վրա, դարբեր ձևով, այսինքն կարևոր է մեր մշակույթն եւ այլն, բայց նաեւ չմոռնանք, որ երբ այս լեզուն ներնի ցեղասպանության վերջին արարքն է, մեզ չարթեցին, հողերը արին, եկեղեցիները, շենքերը, թբոսները ամենը կրավեցին, իսկ երբ լեզուն մերնի, ցեղասպանությունը 100% հաջողած կլա, որովհետև մշակույթը բոլորովին կան հետանա։ Բայց ուրիշ բանը ավելցնեմ, ասեմ, որ երբ Լոս Անջելեսի ցերնակները դարբեր գլոր սեղաններ կային, որոնց մեկ մասը անգլերեն եղավ, մեկ մասը հայերեն, երբեմն մեկ նախադասություն հայերեն, մեկ նախադասություն անգլերեն, բամն է, երկու լեզուներն կործածեցին, բայց մեկ գլոր սեղան միան հայերենով ենք, ան գլոր սեղանը, որ հայերենին նվիրված է, հայերենի եւ մշակույթի նվիրված է, որովհետեւ ցույց պետք է տանք, որ արևմտահայերենը միան խոհանոցի լեզու չէ, արևմտահայերենը մեր ամենօրյա քիդագա նյութերու մասին գնանք խոսիլ, քիդագան նյութերու մասին գնանք խոսիլ եւ շատեր վերջի եկանսին, որ ինչ ուրախ ենք, որ արևմտահայերենով գխոսիկ այս նյութերու մասին, որովհետեւ իսկապես հաճելի է լսել արևմտահայերենով այս տեսակի կարևոր եւ բարդ նյութեր։ Ուրեմն այո, շատ կարևոր է, այսինքն արևմտահայերենը պետք է ներկա լա մեր ամենօրյա կյանքի մեջ։ Գիտես շատ անգամ ինչ կբադայի, ժողով մգնենք, կամ ցերնարկ մգնենք, 50 հոգի գլա, մեկ հոգի հայերեն չի գիտնար, ամիջապես անգլերենի գասին կամ ֆրանսերենի գասին։ Որպես հարկենք այդ մեկ երկու հոգին։ Միս 48 հոգին պետք է հարկվին, չէ, իրենց լեզուն, իրենց մշակույթը եւ այդքան դժվար չէ, որ մեկը կովերնի նստի եւ թարգմանի, ցածայնով թարգմանի, որ իրենց բանը պապակը լավ, որ տևևս լավ գլա, որ քիչ հայերեն սովին եւ պարկաստուծո լեցուն տեսակի լեցուն ձրակիրներ կան հիմա, որ կարելի է հայերեն սովի։ It requires a bit of effort.
Ընդհանուր հոսանքը մեր շուրջը, լա ինտերնետով, լա վեբսայթներով, լա media, social media, ընդհանուրը անգլերենով գուկալ։
Այո։
Երկրակունքի վրա թեև 7000 լեզու կա, քիչ առաջ կբրբդեի, 7000-ին գրնամ ասել 5 հատն են, որ կգարավարի երկրակունքը, անգլերենը, մանդարինը, ֆրանսերենը, արաբերենը, սպաներենը։ Այո, ինչ լեզուներ կան, որ միայն մեկ հոգի խոսի։ Ես չեմ ուզել մանրամասնության մտնել, որտեղ հիմա ժամանակը չէ այս վերլուծումներով։ Հարցը այն է, որ գուզեի խոսքը ուղեք հայ մոր հոր մեծ որ ինչ է ձեր խոսքը որ գուզեք հասնի հայդուներու մեջ, ինչ է ձեր մտահոգություն, ձեր միտքը, ձեր քաջալերանքը ուղղված մեր ընտանիքի անդամներուն։
Ընդհանրապես գխոսապին այս տեսակի խորհուրդ կամ խրատ տալը իմ թևս չէ, ադիգա։ Միան բանը որ գուզեմ ասել, անիգա է որ եթե լեզվով հետաքրքրված եք, եթե գուզեք ձեր զավակները կամ ցուկ հայերեն խոսիկ, շատ քիչ ցևով եթե չանք թափեք եւ հայերեն խոսիկ, այդքան դժվար չէ եւ չմտահոգվեք որ հայերենը գադարյալ է, գադարյալ չէ, այսինքն աշխարհի մեջ գադարյալ մարդ չի գա։ Այո, ամենուս հայերենը նույն մագարտակի չէ, բայց just use the language, speak the language, քիչ մտ հետազոտեցեք ինչ աղբյուրներ կան արցանց, որ կարելի է կործածել մանկական քիվքեր, so it's not rocket science, it's just a bit of commitment. And the thing that upsets me the most is this discourse that language is important, but not do anything about it. So do something about it. If you think it's important, I'm not saying that you're not a good Armenian if you don't speak Armenian. I have never said that. I will never say that. But if you do consider the Armenian language and culture in that language important, you seek opportunities to use it. Եվ մնացածը վերջը գուկա, այսինքն հայեցի գիտակցությունը, գարտալը, այս ամենը ետ կգուկան, բայց քոնը բզդիկները վարժվին, որ այս լեզուն գա եւ քեղեցիկ լեզումն է։ Իթե նաև վատան ասեմ, որ եթե այդպես մտածենք, աշխարհի մեջ 10 լեզու են ավելի թուն 5-ը, ես 10 գսեմ։ 10 լեզու են ավելի մնալու պետք չունի։ Եթե միան ինստրումենտալ ծևով պիտի մտածենք լեզվի մասին, բայց լեզուն եւ մշակույթը ինստրումենտալ բաներ չեն, լեզուն եւ մշակույթը քեղեցկություններ են։ Եվ այդ 7000 լեզուներ մեկ մասը պիտի մեռնի, բայց մերը թող չլատ մեռնողները մեկը, որովհետեւ քեղեցիկ է։ Քեղեցիկ է եւ այդ քեղեցկությունը մեր ինքնության մեկ մասն է, մեր պատմության մեկ մասն է եւ ով ենք որպես ժողովուրդ ador մեկ մասն է, so չանք տապենք ոչ մենի։ Եվ զարկանա, ոչ թե միան չմենի, զարկանա։
Absolutely. There's so much we can talk about the Western Armenian language preservation and overall teaching and learning. Maybe the message should be to the viewers that teaching and learning should not be optional, it should be intentional. And we have to understand why it is important to transmit that language. And when the parent understands it, when the parent turns to be an example within the family, the kids will pursue the same goal. Is there anything in closing, Dr. Razmik Panossian?
I think this was a great conversation. I think we raised some of the key issues. And it's a question of sticking with it. If you want your child to learn French, you don't say that, let them learn few words in French and that's enough. If you think this language is important, well, you can, it could be done and it has been done. Let's not forget that we have created an Armenian-speaking diasporan community in the 1920s. The orphans of the genocide managed to create Armenian-speaking diasporan communities with the meager resources they had, and of course we can. And of course we are a relatively wealthy diaspora. We just put our minds to it, we'll succeed, and maybe 30 years later, some people will watch this video and say, well, what are they talking about? Everyone I know talks in Armenian and knows Armenian. So, let's hope we get there.
Silva Gabudigyan ասաց է ուր երտաս միջնես կոմորը տանկան մտքիցանեց կումար լեզուտ ինչսավ.
Well, I don't want to go into propaganda, making people feel guilty or whatever. I say that if for you it's important, you can do something about it.
Absolutely.
And there are the resources to do something about it. We're not going to succeed if we make people feel guilty and lecture them. And we just should give them the resources. That's what we do. We give them the resources, and everyone could do what they wish to do with those resources. And we are seeing enough movement, enough interest, enough excitement that gives us hope to continue.
Dr. Razmik Panossian, thank you very, very much, and have a good day.
Thank you, Vaitan. It was a pleasure.